We were talking about in this woke society we have, the 2 Arkansas anchors who were suspended for wearing afros on television.
I like the way you use your quotation marks. Woke.
Yeah, it is woke. It should be always in quotes.
Okay, Archie.
Anytime you portray a different culture or ethnicity that's not yours, you need to beware. Safe to say?
Portray and where? Like as an
Anywhere.
No,
I'm wearing a sombrero last night. My kids were laughing. I'm not Latino. Is that okay? It was National Taco Day. Okay? My kids, did I teach my kids something wrong there?
No, I think it's.
My kid yesterday, I'm not going to name which one, made me Oriental last night.
Made you Oriental?
Yep. Pulled my eyes back.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
All kids do it.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything harmful. No ill intent.
No.
I'm going to make you look Chinese, Dad.
Yeah, but
if I did that on Twitter, I'd get hammered for
right,
it.
Because
I'm 55 and I'm talking to a 9-year-old, okay? But it was funny. We laughed, and I said, and I had to have the old, hey, listen.
That's all.
If you were Oriental, how would that make you feel? I ruined the moment for her, but I had to tell her. How would that make you feel?
Yeah.
You're
a good dad.
Your dad and I, your dad, when I was younger, I used to run around with feathers on my head and used to say I was an Indian.
Yeah, I was an Indian.
Can't do that anymore. Why? Well, because weren't you playing Cowboys and Indians? Well, yeah, we're not allowed to portray Cowboys either.
See, but though you're already doing it with this snarky.
I know.
Back in the day, it was okay, and now nothing's okay.
Well, it's true. Back in the day, it was okay.
Right, and it's not okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So
am I safe to say that you should never portray any other ethnicity or culture
in a derogatory way?
No.
Oh, you should just never portray it?
Never portray it.
No, you can.
Give me an example, because in this particular case, these guys were wearing afros because they were known from the 70s, not because they were black.
It's all context. Stop. It's context.
Okay, give me an example give me an example where you could portray a different ethnicity and it'd be okay.
The sombrero that you wore at your house.
Yep.
To celebrate National Taco Day.
Yes.
And I don't know what you said.
I spoke Spanish.
Fine. Did you say anything derogatory in Spanish? Or you don't know?
I probably did, because I haven't spoke Spanish in a long
there
time.
You go.
But I didn't try to. I didn't say caca. Is that what?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I think in that way, no. There's nothing wrong. It's in
I think I said Speedy Gonzalez.
What?
I think I said Speedy Gonzalez,
okay, well,
which has also been woke, by the way. Speedy Gonzalez will never appear because Speedy
not.
Gonzalez is a short little rat with a little mustache, and that's Latino, and that's not right.
That's right.
Exactly.
So in your home, if you would have said I'm Speedy Gonzalez, no, it's not right. If you would have wore a sombrero, spoke Spanish, and said we're making tacos and frijoles and for National Taco Day, you're doing your best to represent the Latino heritage.
But outside my house, I couldn't do it.
It depends on what your audience is. Yes. Because
okay, but what my point is,
because it goes back.
My point is if you can do something, you should be able to do it in front of everybody, right?
No, life is not nice. It's your whole. It's all or
so
none.
I can do it behind closed curtains, but I can't do it out in the park.
Because it depends how it's. Your intent, right? Your intent for your family, and you have 2 Latino boys.
Yeah.
Would you ever do anything derogatory to the Latino culture in front of your 2 boys? Intentionally.
No.
Of course not. So
what if I didn't have 2 Latino boys?
Then I would say it's not right. If it's derogatory. Absolutely.
To wear a sombrero?
No. To do something that is inadvertently derogatory. So is wearing a sombrero derogatory? I don't think so, but I don't know. If I had a friend who was Latino or was from Mexico and said, do you realize that wearing the sombrero is what we made, the people who were outcast from the community wear, and that's the only reason that they wore them. Like if that's what it was, or we used to do it in dancing around the hat.
Yep.
Do you realize that dancing around the hat is degrading in our culture? Okay, I would have gone, oh crap.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
I don't think it is.
No, I know, but that to me, that is the point. If it is inadvertently derogatory, then you don't do it. Period. Like and so context, and that's what I was saying about wearing the afros. Did they intend to be derogatory? No, but they're on flippin' local news. 20 or 30,000 people are watching.
Yeah, but do you want to even broach that? What I'm saying though is, I could drop the F-bomb in the house and no one hears it, and it's like,
it's not right.
I could drop. No, it's not right.
Right.
So I can make an argument by wearing a sombrero, assuming that there's nothing wrong with wearing a sombrero,
right.
From a cultural standpoint, that it doesn't mean death or whatever.
Right. Then you're fine.
Then I probably don't need to wear it in the house if I'm not going to wear it outside the house.
No, but if there's nothing,
because it feels creepy.
No, right. But if there's nothing wrong with it, listen, because that's the point. If in Hispanic culture, it is great to wear a sombrero, and it represents celebration of the day, and everybody wears sombreros. It's great. I wear a sombrero, you wear. Then of course not. Then it's fine. You should.
Yeah.
So that's, to me, what you have to check, that everybody, particularly white people, get all up in their panties in a bunch on is, well, I can't do anything. No, it's not that you can't do anything, but you can't do things that are inadvertently derogatory.
Yeah. So when it comes to acting, and we have an actor here in the
This is
studio.
where I think this is super interesting, because I do think this is different.
We have an actor in the studio, and he's portrayed many different characters. And a lot of people say they love acting as someone they're not, because it's acting.
Right.
That's what they do.
Screen
and so
Actors
we've
Guild,
had black people play
Yeah.
Hamilton. We may have a black James Bond. I'm trying to think. I'm sure it's happened. Have we had any white people play black people? Have we?
No.
In any?
What do you play?
In what?
The comedy. It was the comedy. It was acting. Actors doing acting, and he was.
But was it
acting a black guy.
Method acting a black
okay.
guy. Okay.
Boy, I'm glad he's here, because
Yeah.
Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder, where Robert Downey Jr. was playing a black man. Okay. Don't know if you could do that now. It's certainly not.
Was that
look
the
like a
point
black
of
man.
it? I mean, was the point of the movie, or part of the movie, that a white guy is playing a black guy, or is it supposed to be right? So that's different.
Yeah.
That's different than he's just portraying a character. Yeah.
So, and particularly, and this came to light particularly because The Simpsons and Hank Azaria, who's an incredible actor and a great voice character. He's doing the cartoon The Simpsons. He's playing the Indian. He's playing a couple other. He plays Mo. He plays a couple of different people, and he's a voice actor, right? So he needs to sound Indian in order to play the Indian character. He no longer does it. And at first, he was kind of like, "Come on, we make fun of Indians because he's a 7-Eleven owner. I mean, there's stereotypes that run throughout the entire show. There's stereotypes of Homer, and that's what made that show really, really funny and great for a while. And it hasn't really changed the show a whole lot, the fact that it doesn't do anything. But he goes, I understand. And if there's a faction of people that don't like it or think it's disrespectful, then I'm not going to do it. I'm bigger than that. It's not going to change my pay. I don't really care.
But let me just quickly, and I don't know if you know this from reading. Were they upset that he was playing an Indian, a person of Indian descent, or were they upset about that and the way that character was portrayed?
Both.
Because, I mean, that's where it gets a little entangled.
Yeah, because Indians can make fun of Indians. Jews can make fun of Jews.
Well,
Latinos can make fun of Latinos.
Right. So if the character was of Indian descent, but not being portrayed as a stereotypical 7-Eleven owner or derogatory stereotypical, then I wonder how much of an issue it was.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the part that gets super confusing. Because I know where you're going with the Jew thing.
And there's the other thing too. Is like, is it a stereotypical portrayal, or is it a general portrayal?
You're right.
We have a gas station on the street. It's owned by a couple Indian people. They're friends of mine. And I'm like, and some guy, they just sold the gas station. I'm sure it's going to be an Indian owns it. Okay, well, every building in Homewood's owned by Latinos now too.
That's right.
So is it a stereotyping, or is it a general?
Well, stereotyping is, I mean,
we're building a comedy show and we're going to have a 7-Eleven. Who should run the 7-Eleven? Well, generally speaking, I don't know. I'd have to look and see the percentages of people that own 7-Elevens or Circle K's. Are they Indian? then it would be an Indian, and that would be considered a stereotype.
Yes, it is.
But if you're wanting to portray as real as you possibly can
The stereotype.
yeah,
and it does, and that will upset some people.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I know where you're going, because I'm about to go in on this one.
You ready to go?
I'm ready.
Sarah Silverman, who's Jewish, on her podcast, complained there's this long tradition of non-Jews playing Jews. And it's just not playing people who happen to be Jewish people, but whose Jewishness is their whole being.
Yeah.
One could argue, for instance, that a Gentile playing Joan Rivers correctly would be doing what is actually called Jew face.
Sorry, I'm a Jew. I can laugh at that. That's so funny.
One could argue that only
this is
if
Jackie
one
Mason stuff, man.
Yeah. One could argue that only if one had the IQ of the stuff that grows on your kitchen sponge. Silverman is the kind of person who argues for inclusiveness by telling us about who should be excluded from what. She was Clancy Wiggum of the Cultural Appropriation Police in 2007 on her Comedy Central show. She actually wore blackface, proving that she was guilty of culturally appropriating the humor of 1936. In 2016, she appeared on Adolf Hitler on an episode of Conan. Only Aryans get to do that. She says Jew face is defined as when a non-Jew portrays a Jew with a Jewishness front and center, often with makeup or changing the features, big fake nose, all the New York Yiddish inflection, she added. When the importance of representation is seen as so essential and so front and center, why does ours constantly get breached even today in the thick of it? And I could read this whole thing, but your thoughts?
So, yeah, I mean, this is the Okay, let's go there.
And you're Jewish, by the way.
The big nose, the Yiddish, but then let's take it one step further, right? Either a doctor, lawyer, an accountant, right? Cheap, because it's the derogatory stereotypes. Cheap, somebody who's, not going to spend much money, or someone who's in a major power position, right? Which, I guess, again, depends how you look at that, right? As a Jew.
If you were doing a documentary about ESPN, that would be true.
Right. I'd be like, of course, but the derogatory is part of the Jews run Hollywood. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, you do.
We do.
Yeah, you do.
We do.
Yeah.
But I do think what's interesting to me is, and this is I won't go too deep, but this is that whole religion versus sort of cultural piece. Me portraying, you portraying a Jew, where you're acting or in your movie and you're just being Tony, and you're doing all the things Tony does, but at one scene, they ask you your religion, you say you're Jewish. Or let's go one step further. And another scene, you're having a bar mitzvah, right? That is culturally accurate.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with that because you're not stereotyping, right?
Yeah.
You're just being Tony. Now, if you're talking with an over Yiddish accent and you're an accountant and you're cheap and you're all those sort of things, I have a problem with that being portrayed. Whether you're Jewish or not, I have more of a problem with that being portrayed than who's portraying it. Now, and I actually think that's
because you could have a Jewish person portraying the same thing.
Yeah, still would be. But
the fact that I'm not Jewish portraying it adds a little incentive to believe
but
that
I'm
maybe
not
it's
that
racially
much.
sensitive. Yeah,
and that's why I'm saying it's whether if a black person is playing this unbelievably negative stereotype of African Americans, I guess in a movie it has to be that's the character.
Yeah.
But I'm upset if I'm black and watching that. If a white person is doing it, it's probably even worse. But there's a difference between religion and ethnicity and culture. And this is where Jews, it all gets messed up.
Yep.
Because look, they got Jews in Ethiopia. You can take an Ethiopian Jew and play that. And so what would she, is she upset that if it was an Ethiopian Jew, you wouldn't get it? Because the New York accent's the great example.
And there's the point, too.
I do that all the time. Listen, I've done that a million times. Somebody who's from New York, I'm like, oh, you're Jewish, right? They're like, no. But it's that New York Jew. And I will tell you, when I moved here, it blew my mind to sit in temple. And one of the things Jews do is stereotype. We like to talk a lot. We're talking a lot in temple, and no one pay attention, but everybody's talking and talking and talking. And I'm listening, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the most bizarre thing. Because culturally, they're doing that, which Jews do, but they all have Southern accents. If you would have put them in a movie, You'd be like, what the hell's wrong? They're using y'all and their might could. Like, that's not a stereotypical Jew, but their behaviors were stereotypical. So I get what Sarah's saying. It's with religion, you can't do that.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then throw in the acting part of it.
Well, yes.
Unless you're making a movie or a show about Southern Jewish people.
Right, exactly.
It doesn't fit. My point is, okay.
Right, exactly.
And I'll use The Simpsons as an example. We need and it's a cartoon. We need a guy stereotypically, and I'll use the word stereotypically because that's what we wanted. We need an actor. Say The Simpsons came out and was a real live person show.
Right.
We need a guy that looks like a bar owner.
Yep. Right.
I know what bar owners look like.
Yep.
They're 50, 60-year-old old men who still chase skirts.
Yep.
I need a 7-Eleven owner.
Yep.
I got it. Everyone around me are Indian, blah, 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 blah. And so and people are like, well, why can't you have a white owner? You could. But if you were really wanting to put a show on that portrays the life we know it as, real life, or what we're used to seeing,
right,
then we could do that.
And people get upset. So this is the interesting thing. It's not that it comes down to societal judgment about what is right and what is wrong in the context. So you are going to upset people.
Yeah.
There are going to be people upset. And we talk about this all the time. If you upset enough people, then you've clearly pushed a button, right?
Yeah.
And we've talked about this with the Me Too movement. We talked about this everything. Oh, I can't eat green popsicles.
Yep.
If green popsicles are offensive to enough people, it's going to stick.
Yeah.
That's the way I always think about it.
What makes a great show and great writers is when you go against the stereotypical wave and you put a character in that is not stereotypically what we think, but they pull it off.
Yes.
And I can think of one example, and I remember Jurassic Park or 1, 2, or 3, or whatever it was. The Jeff Goldblum character had a black daughter.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember when they came out, and I don't know why Steven Spielberg put a black girl in that role.
Yeah.
Because it was never answered why.
It just
He
was.
had a black daughter.
Just was.
And it was pulled off. Would it have been a better movie if he had It did distract you.
Yeah.
Much like a black James Bond or a woman James Bond would distract us because it's not what we're used to.
Until you got used to it.
Until I get used to it. And then, but I knew going into the movie that she was black, and so it didn't really blow me away. And it's about the dinosaurs and everything else anyway. And that I think it was the third one. It sucked anyway. But yeah, it was a little. And I'm from the South, and so I see blacks and whites dating, going out. I saw a white couple yesterday at the park. They had 3 black children. I didn't think anything of it. I almost adopted a black child. We couldn't do it.
You didn't think anything of it, but you know.
It's different. It's different.
That's all.
And I hate the word distraction because distraction always sounds like it's bad.
Exactly. It's different.
And it's not really
right.
It's not really a distraction. It's different. It just looks different.
That's right. And then
and so once you get used to it, you're like, okay, whatever.
Exactly.
She's an actor. She's an actress. And so I get that. So I guess it's really, if you're doing a show about an old Jewish family,
right? You're going to have a stereotype,
and you set the preface. Okay, you must be Jewish to get that. There are probably some people out there that play better Jewish people that aren't Jewish than people that are Jewish.
If you're going to do a stereotypical Jewish family, that stereotypical Jew, and this is what I think is interesting because you can do this. This is stereotypical East Coast New York Jews. Then you got L.A. Jews. West Coast Jews.
What would be really interesting is if you did a show with 5 or 6 different stereotypical roles, but they were all totally different than what you're used to.
What? Like what?
Like a black guy playing a white guy, a white guy playing a black guy, a Jewish guy playing a Gentile. I mean, could you?
Great idea.
And they have 5 different people all playing roles where
stereotype
a black guy playing a Latino. What? I mean, it would totally throw you off. And then have a Latino in the thing, but he's playing a white guy. Having a gay guy playing a straight guy playing a gay guy. I mean, it would take you so long. See, that's where this is like painting a picture.
Right.
You paint the sun in the corner first. Right. You paint the land first, and then you start building things on it. If you had everything back ass.
Well, but listen, that's abstract art.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we go, it's or symbolism, right? And we go, because there's the whole, I can't remember. I took intro to modern art in college, and it was great because it was a cool room you can go take a sleep. I never paid attention, but I do remember one of the things, that whole thing, the shift from the Renaissance painting. Like we used to paint very accurate paintings because we didn't have cameras.
Yeah.
And then once we got cameras, people were like, well, this is a waste of time. I don't need to paint this shit. We'll just take a picture. And that's when you started getting all these like more abstract kind of stuff. It's exactly the same thing. You can have a sort of societal representation, or you can take liberty and mess with it. I think it would be a great show.
Yeah.
It'd be a great show.
That'd be something you see on Fox.
And
It's a Fox show because they're always thinking outside the box.
Which Fox? Oh, Fox.
Fox Television.
Yeah.
They would come up
I don't
with
know
a show.
if not Fox.
It's going to totally blow. They could even promote it. This is going to blow your stereotypes out of. Watch this show because we're going to be doing different things. Oh, by the way, we had a black man won NASCAR yesterday. Bubba Wallace.
Yeah.
His
name's Bubba.
Yeah, his name's. We have a black name named Bubba
who
won a race at Talladega Super Speedway.
But you see, and to me,
by the way, he was the second black man to do that.
This is what I think.
Him.
This is what I think is great. This to me is time marches on and we evolve, and get with it or be left behind. Now, I'm not saying you got to agree with everything, but particularly around humanity things, like we had a black guy win Talladega. And his name was Bubba. God love
about
him.
that. Yeah.
And he didn't win it because he was black. He's a great driver.
143rd start, I think it was, in NASCAR. It's a long time, brother. And good for him. And of course, some people were like, it was a rain shortened race. I don't care. He won the race, period. That's good enough for me. And it was just And he was so excited, by the way. He was in tears. It was great to see.
Just you wait.
You know who owns his team? Michael Jordan.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Owns his NASCAR team.
Right.
And so good for them. So
I thought you were going to say Magic Johnson, who owns everything else. Magic, Michael, and Shaq.
Yeah, Shaq is unbelievable right now. I mean, he owns everything. I can't get him off television. He's doing more commercials. He's so endorsed right now.
And he owns half the shit that he's.
And this guy's been out of the league for 15 years. I mean, it's amazing. I don't know who his marketing firm is or whatever.
But he owns like the Papa John's. Yeah. He owns them. He's got his own furniture line at Office Max.
I know.
It's pretty amazing
stuff.